So let's go through some of these reports. First, inventory reports. These are usually the first one that we generate in an installation because they tell us what's in our system or what's in our source management or what's in our projects. And so this one is a members inventory report. I ran this against 3 libraries on my mainframe, and I get this information about what's in those libraries, how many lines of code, how many members, how many COBOL programs, how many jobs, some size estimations, and then split according to libraries. And instead of libraries, this could be, if it's Endeavor, it can be a specific system, subsystem, and stage, like development. So this will be the first thing that's going to help me to build the project or decide what goes into each project or where can I find things. There's more details, then you can actually see the name of the members later on. Once you build the projects, you start to get more inventory information, such as how many tables is my application using, how many copybooks, average information, does my project contain programs which are very big or maybe very small. So this is a more detailed information. For each program you can actually get like a profile saying what the program is doing, what type of table it uses, and so on. So if you quickly want to, look at this program, I can immediately see that it handles customer information just from this report. Next is the complexity area, and we usually do this after we understand the inventory because we want to understand later on, okay, if we have a lot of programs, okay, but maybe they are very simple. Or if we have a few programs, maybe they're very complex. So this is another piece of the puzzle that we need to understand. So this is an example of a complexity report. It gives a distribution across the program, so I can see that more than half of my code is difficult. And then I can get a list of programs, and I can just see which are the more problematic ones, which are the more easier ones. You can also configure these reports to calculate complexity, not in a generic way. Some of these are generic ways, so what is the control flow complex or things like that. But you can also configure it according to statement types. So if you're going to do a change that relates to database access, you can configure a report that will measure the complexity just according to database access. So very complex programs that don't do anything with the database will still get a 0 complexity. So it's more accurate, or I would say task specific. Dead code, where used reports. If you are going to do a change, let's say to tables or IDMS records or whatever, you want to know exactly where something is being used, the where is reports would give you that. So they would tell you the statement types, they would tell you which tables are the most used. For each, in this case it's SQL table, you can see which programs are using it. So if you need to do a change to the table, obviously you need to go through all of these 6 programs in this case, and make sure that the code doesn't need to change, or you need to build them or whatever. And the report, you can print them, you can export them to PDF, Word, or Excel to make some sort of a worksheet. Dead code, it's a good way to clear the code before doing a large change, because you don't want to do changes to code which cannot be reached and waste time. Here it's going to tell you exactly where this dead code is, not only the percentage of dead code like we've seen in the dashboard, but also exactly where this dead code is. And we have other more task-specific things like field expansion, what's the impact, which programs need to be handled, which files are affected, which tables are affected, some call chains or relationships, some data set impact analysis, and so on.
What's in the impact analysis report?
So we have 3 types of reports. We have field renaming. You give a field, it tells you where all the places where the field is being used, all the statements, because you need to go and rename there. And we have impact analysis and field expansion, which are almost the same. It means when you are expanding a field, we would trace all of the movement of the field and all of the redefined and being sent as a parameter. So if we look at an example here, how a summary of such a report looks like. So given a specific field which I gave here, it tells me that there are 11 variables basically that are impacted. So they're moved. You have one variable moved to another, its impact, or maybe it's in a record and the parent record is being moved, or the record's redefined. And also there are 2 SQL tables impacted. And if you want to know why, you can just go to the detailed information here, for example. So from date is the field, and it's related to workdays table. Why it's related, this will tell you. So we have an assignment between from date and another variable, which is called start date. Okay, so that's why start date is dependent, and then there is a fetch from workdays into start date. So basically, this is a chain, and these are the link between the components. This is why if from date needs to be expanded, then workdays also. Start date would also be there in the, if we go here on the variables, it would also be here because it's a variable. Okay, so start date is also here. So each variable and each table or file has this. Either you just you can get to the definition immediately, or you can see the impact or the explanation why the variables on the list here are dependent.